Now, before you freak out, this ability did not come from doing this, nor anything close to it. It actually came from an opposite viewpoint of working the absolute most regress that I could. Let's take a look. So I just finished Friday's knee ability dense strength session. So rather than seeing how much weight I can squat, it's how deep can I squat with perfect form. And that was built on Wednesday's session where I worked this quality one side at a time with the ATG split squat, which was built on Monday's session, where I worked the very base stability, because we know, evidence shows, the better you are, the stronger you are on a step down test, the less chance of knee pain and knee surgery you have. So we've turned this into a safe progressive strength movement. And then even below all of that is the fact of building the muscles responsible for your ankle mobility in the first place, because what your ankle can't handle then goes up to the knee. So you know me now as the guy who's like obsessed with the tibialis, right? But that started for me as the most fragile guy, going all the way down to a muscle that no one had ever taught me to train because it was so low and so regressed. So what have I done differently? I've spent more time building this muscle, building the ankle mobility and strength, then building the strength with that knee over your toe. And we don't even start with any of these implements at first because we want your body building all these lower muscles. So we start, it seems like a slower approach, but life is long. That's what we're training for. So we're training so that if you're someone who thinks you'll never jump high, you actually could. But you also could be the 75-year-old still playing with your grandkids. There's quite literally video of the most similar guy to train how we do, going not for maximum weight, but for these ranges. And there's a picture of him at 75 years old jumping over a hurdle at 75. I've never seen a picture of someone at 75 years old jumping as high as him, but it's not because he lifted in the traditional way. He lifted to rebuild from the ground up with the full ranges of motion. So keep that in mind, that was it for me not about pushing the upper limits, it was quite the opposite. It's how low can you start in? How low can you start in your feet and ankles, and then how much internal adaptation can you create? So when we're in these positions, we're actually following evidence to prevent tendon degradation, to actually strengthen and build the tendons, to actually strengthen and build the ligaments and prevent the loss of cartilage. Because if you look, no one can deny that the correlation between loss of cartilage is actually from stopping your knees going over your toes, not from embracing it. And there's an entire population, everything I just said. I talked about dense strength and these loaded movements. Then I talked about knee ability zero. And it goes even further than that. Just by walking backwards, you're strengthening with your knee over your toe. Strengthening knee over toe starts by just walking backwards, and there's a variety of ways. I put out endless free articles on how simple it is to get started. The stronger you get backwards, look at that in slow motion, the more protected you get forwards. You quite literally gain more strength to protect yourself when you go forward. So I did my 100 miles of ROKP, reverse out knee pain. I did 100 miles of that. I then did full 12 weeks of all the knee ability zero exercises with no weight, forcing myself to rebuild from the ground up and to rebuild internally, so that then I could get into progressively loading these evidence-based positions that we want to be strong in. And remember, everything regresses. This right here, that is an ATG split squat. And that's why all my business is devoted to is putting you on the right route and then watching your form after every single session so you can travel these same paths. So I didn't go from the fragile guy, the guy who was always hurt, always in knee pain, lowest jumper on the team. That didn't happen from trying upper level stuff. It was when I gave up the upper level stuff and decided to try to rework my body from the ground up and internally, the things that are proven for inside the joint. So, I hope this helped. Okay, whatever your goals are, I'm here for those who want to create superhuman longevity. I entered my 20s, 19-inch vertical, taking painkillers way more than I was even supposed to, no one knew, icing my knees 4 times a day, already had surgeries and knew that I needed more. I literally had more diagnosed torn ligaments, and I in my mind, my knees were even worse than when I had, than you know, after the surgery. I was now years after surgery with my knees even worse. I was depressed. I'd never tested over a 19-inch vertical. Now I'm going into my 30s, over 40-inch vertical, off all 4 plans. Like, I'm not even training to be a dunker or the highest jumper. I'm simply training to be the most protected, purely. My goal is to be able to dunk with my kid. Why not try to dunk with my grandkid? That's my goal is longevity. And in sports, longevity is really money. And in life, longevity is money. So I am not the world's only or best or anything else trainer. I'm here to help everybody, okay? Human race, we're a human community. Mine is not the only way to do it. I'm simply using tools left by different geniuses along the way, turning them into things that we can all benefit from. That's what it's all about. Happy 2021. Community attitude is actually what gets it done. The idea that we have to compete to survive, well, look at that. If you actually look at it on a mathematical level, that idea leads to something like a war, which destroys economies, takes food out of everyone's table. You see what I'm saying? So it's actually a false idea that you have to try to tear someone down to lift yourself up. It's false. When you tear someone down, you actually just tore yourself down to that much of a degree. That's actually the natural law of the universe. So, happy 2021. For anyone who has watched this far, thank you so much. To everyone who has learned knee ability, thank you so much. 2021, community, positive vibes only. Let's do it.